You know, is this a real serious company, or is this a bunch of goofballs?
I've always said that we're kind of an MBA's nightmare because we don't follow the same path.
I was maxed on a lot of credit cards in the beginning. Like I said, 50, 75 credit cards is not a joke.
We're going to serve afternoon tea on the farm. And I said, what? Among the most popular dreams shared by millions of Americans, the desire to be their own boss, to own their own business. In fact, according to Small Business Administration statistics, 800,000 new companies started up last year. Unfortunately, 40% of those companies will be out of business within 2 years, and 60% will no longer exist after 6 years. Our program focuses on small businesses which have beaten those odds. Our mission is to show you how they did it, to share their successes and secrets with the millions of others who own, manage, or work at one of the thousands, make that hundreds of thousands, of small businesses operating in our country. The companies and the people we'll profile come from different industries, from different parts of the country. Their owners and employees bring with them a variety of backgrounds and a wide range of skills. None of the businesses we'll profile are exactly alike, but they do all share something important in common. They have all succeeded by doing business in a way you wouldn't expect. Most of all, they've gone beyond the obvious, finding unconventional solutions to many of the conventional problems that face nearly every enterprise. The owners and employees of these businesses have proven that in being creative, in being courageous, in doing what many others wouldn't have done, or what most others wouldn't have thought to do, in doing business not as usual, they've fulfilled the dream that so many Americans dream, to be the owners of their own successful small business.
The evolution of the family farm is incredible. With each generation, there's been a new change. No next generation has done what the one before did.
The Adams family farm sits quietly in the Deerfield Valley in southern Vermont, also home to the Mount Snow and Haystack ski areas. The farm has been there since before Vermont was a state and has been continuously operating since Henry Adams bought it in 1865. Since then, 5 generations have worked this property. The latest, Jill Adams Monsivellano and her husband Carl. They took over principal management in 1993, and from the start, they understood 20th century economic realities.
It's hard nowadays for farms to make it doing the traditional types of agriculture that we think about. I'm seeing farms be successful in niche marketing, where instead of milking cows, they're milking sheep, or they're milking goats, and they're processing it into cheese, and they're direct marketing it to the public, or wholesaling it across the country to some of the finer restaurants.
But shipping off their products to restaurants and supermarkets offered limited profit potential. So Jill and Carl decided that instead of sending their products to the marketplace, they'd bring the marketplace to their products. The Adams family farm became a country store and what amounted to an agricultural mini theme park.
The idea of having people come to the farm was actually coming to us. People were coming to the farm going, hey, can I go see those animals up on the hill? Once we started opening the farm up and letting the people see the animals, we found out that there's this whole other dynamic that was going on. And we realized that the most valuable thing in America was quality time with family members. And if we could create an atmosphere where people could come and spend quality time with their family and create memories, that is a fulfilling thing to do with your life. And it's also giving us the ability to keep the farm going.
Still, despite an old-time general store converted from a former dairy barn, stacks of homegrown, homemade, privately labeled products, and an expanding list of popular seasonal activities, there weren't enough visitors to generate a profit. Strapped for cash and for ideas, Jill researched the internet, worked with their local chamber, and consulted with the state tourism agency. What she learned stunned her, but more important, it revealed why the farm wasn't making money.
We labeled ourselves as a petting farm because that's what the families were coming here and calling it. It was a shock to us to realize that, while we were hosting families here at our farm, that 70% of the travelers were here in Vermont without children. And we had nothing really for them. What do I do to attract people that like the farm atmosphere but are not going to go to a petting farm? What are we going to do for these people?
I come home from the sugar lot one day, And Jill says to me, Carl, I have an idea, and I don't want you to say no just yet, and I want you to listen. We're going to serve afternoon tea on the farm. And I said, what?
And we're serving the Adams Farm afternoon tea blend.
And then I realized it was genius. This could work.
I wanted people to be able to come to our farm, experience something really good, very unique, learn something, and be able to say, you know, I went to Vermont, I went to this farm, and you won't believe what they had there, you know. That was my best part of Vermont, you know. My best part of New England tour was going to the Adams Farm. We opened up our quilt and fiber arts loft because, you know, women were the ones that were making the decision about where we're going on vacation and what we're going to do.
Realizing the market dynamics of who your customers are, the boomers, the empty nesters, focusing in on them and then creating product line and experience, higher ticket item. We spent all this time producing wool, now we're spending time producing sweaters. So instead of selling 32 cents a pound, $64 a pound for a sweater. The business end of this whole afternoon tea experience, the money isn't in serving tea, it's product.
Vermont's becoming known as the Napa Valley of cheese.
Introducing people to the product and then giving them the opportunity to extend the experience through their lifetime. If they have these products on their table for the rest of their life and have a wonderful feeling about the day they were first introduced to it, then I feel I've done my job to help keep Vermont a viable agricultural spot.
People really enjoy the simple things in life. I mean, that's what brings the most joy. It's the simple things. And that's what a family farm is all about too, you know.
A modern high-tech approach to marketing combined with nostalgic reminders of days gone by, like the quilt loft and the country store with its new homemade fudge counter, educational demonstrations, and of course, afternoon tea. Together, all these things have given another generation the means to make a living on this property. But both Jill and Carl know that what breathes economic life into this farm today won't necessarily be what sustains generations to come, like daughters Olivia and Charlotte.
This is a maple tree, and every year somebody on the farm has gone up to it and drilled a hole in it to tap the sap, bring it out in the springtime. But if you look closely, you can see the old tap wounds from years gone by. This is Bill Adams, this is Lewis Adams, Walter Adams, Henry Adams. No son has made a living doing what his father has done through the history of agriculture here on this hillside farm. But the equation is to keep everything on the farm running, whether it's the sawmill, the land use, the wood lot, the sugar lot, the animals, the tractors, keep everything running so whatever the future holds, the farm will be here to fill America's needs.
The story of the Adams family farm is typical of the quality and length of story we expect to produce for Business Not As Usual. Now we'd like to show you excerpts lifted from 3 others that have already been shot and edited. King Henry Snacks near Portland, Oregon, a snack food and candy distributor that found the right financial recipe and now, after years of struggle, is enjoying the sweet taste of success. Sagestone Incorporated, a high-tech new economy company in Michigan that survived a rather unique challenge to its future, a problem most businesses would like to have: too much money instead of too little. And Little Guys Movers in Denton, Texas, where the owners used some creative fringe benefits and unusual team-building tactics to keep good employees, although they never liked to keep them for long.
I've never worked at a company where I could, I'd come in and I'd grill for everybody for lunch, or most jobs you come in, you want to get out of there as fast as you can. You want to fill out your time cards. You want to get out of there. People here are the exact opposite.
Welcome to Little Guys Movers of Denton, Texas, just north of Dallas-Fort Worth. Several times a week here, employees gather, as one put it, to chow and chug. After a long day of lifting, lugging, toting, and trucking, this group definitely likes to kick back, trade stories, throw darts, even strum a little music. Chad Nichols is one of the owners of Little Guys. He partnered up after getting his master's in business at North Texas State, attracted by the way the company values individuality and encourages a certain amount of free expression.
I've always said that we're kind of an MBA's nightmare because we don't follow the same path as conventional businesses do. We do hire free spirits, and one thing we try not to do is dampen those free spirits, put constraints on the people that we do hire. When they first show up to jobs, sometimes they're not conventional looking people, and sometimes customers are taken back by that.
Maybe the way they shave their head or have a goatee or a tattoo or an earring. Our reputation generally precedes us, but still, there is always a little bit of something that has to be overcome in the customer's mind, and we always do. We always impress them.
And while they reward a job well done and build morale with these backyard barbecues, they say they're not really looking for employees who want to make moving their life's work.
Turnover, we look at it as something you're not going to avoid in this industry. Moving is a very physical thing that wears down the body. Instead of fighting the turnover, like most companies do, we try to embrace it. We look at it as a natural part of our business. A mover can move furniture for 2 or 3 years. After that, it really starts wearing physically on the body. It is also one of those jobs that is challenging for a year or 2 years, but after that, you've probably learned all you're going to learn about moving. Once a person gets to a point where they no longer like their job or be challenged by the job, it's really not beneficial for the company's customers, or that employee to be around. They really need to move on and find something else in their life.
Under a stunning blue sky on a spring day in West Michigan, a visitor might catch a glimpse of this unimposing 2-story building amid the white pines and sugar maples on the outskirts of Grand Rapids. From the outside, there doesn't appear to be much out of the ordinary about Sagestone Incorporated. But when you walk inside, through the lobby, up the stairs, and into the main offices on the second floor, you know right away, this company is different.
And they notice our rabbit and Chewbacca and Leia, and it's almost kind of a, is this a real serious company, or is this are these a bunch of goofballs? But we really have a relaxed environment.
Relaxed is a word you hear a lot around Sagestone, a software development company with about 50 employees. But don't get the idea they take their work lightly, despite the cardboard cutouts you see all over the place. In fact, CEO Keith Brophy says this supposed new economy company is solidly grounded in the work ethic and fundamentals of the old economy. So much so that during the dot-com boom, Brophy and his management team evaluated a risky multi-million-dollar venture capital offer. They turned it down.
The decision not to use outside capital, while I think we're absolutely, in the long run, it was absolutely the right decision, that's a hard decision too, because you have to be very patient when you take that approach.
During long lunchtime runs with fellow employees, Brophy wondered if he had made the right decision. Turning down the venture capital offer meant cutting jobs, but when the recession hit, it also meant that Sagestone would survive while so many other dot-coms didn't.
I think that distinguishes us from new economy companies doing business the new economy way, where they can see all the opportunity at the end of the road, and they try to kind of strap on a turbo jetpack to get there, fueled by venture capital, investor money, and they kind of overlook the fact that you really can't just reach that destination with that one turbo jet swoop, but you have to step up one step at a time, year after year after year, to really build a sustainable business.
He came too close and he attempted to charge at 45 yards.
At the headquarters of King Henry Snacks in Beaverton, Oregon, you'll find plenty of proof that Henry Davidian is a man who does not shrink from a challenge, and he's certainly not afraid to take a risk, even to put his life on the line like he did recently in Alaska.
I had to take a shot, and he was 19 yards away from where we were at when he was on the ground after the shot.
But 3 years ago, Henry and his wife Trina faced financial disaster as their 3-year-old company near Portland sank closer and closer to bankruptcy. Just like the moment Henry faced a charging bear, they knew they only had one shot at turning the company around, and it meant diving even deeper into debt.
I was maxed on a lot of credit cards in the beginning. Like I said, 50, 75 credit cards is not a joke. And if we had somebody that needed a payment and I didn't have it, they would say, well, how are you going to pay this? And I would say, let me call you back. And I would open up all the credit cards and say, okay, I could do 3,000 here, 2,000 here, 1,000. And it was embarrassing for me to say, okay, I can pay you, but you're going to have to do this on 4 credit cards. And you know darn good well what they're thinking at that time. And you're stuck. There is nothing you can do. That's the worst feeling. You're trapped. You have no choices, no alternatives.
Good morning, Judy and Lynn.
By cutting expenses, growing sales, working long hours, and taking advantage of low-cost classes at nearby Portland Community College, Henry and Trina managed to hold off bankruptcy long enough to reverse their cash flow. And recently, they welcomed classmates for a tour of their new 30,000 square foot warehouse, plant, and office complex. The open house also marked a milestone, a second straight year of profitability.
In my opinion, this is the fun time because all the beginning time was all the learning. And you have all the stress of the cash flow and the money. And now we think, I should say, that we know what we're doing. And now is the time that you can perfect it. You can get it better. You can get it to be a really lean, mean working machine, and you can really get out and be effective.
The stories we've presented today are just 4 of many we hope to bring you in future programs. They're stories about typical people who found untypical solutions to the problems that face nearly every business. Some, like Chad Nelson of Little Guys, enjoyed the benefit of formal business schooling at a university. Most, however, succeeded simply by seeking the guidance of agencies like the Small Business Administration, state agencies, their local Chamber of Commerce, or their local small business development centers. These and other community organizations have played an important role in their survival and growth. Because they've taken advantage of these resources and because of their drive, persistence, and determination, they've been able to beat the odds and succeed. They serve as role models and inspiration to all small business owners, and they exemplify the entrepreneurial spirit shared by more than 22 million others in our country. People unafraid to face the challenges and take the risks that come with business ownership. People with the creativity and the courage to explore the unconventional, to do business not as usual. The concept driving business not as usual is to give PBS stations an opportunity to build a new strategic alliance with a large and potentially productive resource in the viewing area, thousands of small business owners and hundreds of thousands of their employees. By offering a weekly program focused on uncommon solutions to common problems faced by small businesses, your station will draw viewers and, of course, support from among the 100 million Americans who earn their living in these distinctly local small companies. The concept for business not as usual originated at KLRN-TV in San Antonio, Texas, and immediately it attracted the support and endorsement of the Association of Small Business Development Centers. It appealed to the ASBDC because their mission really is the same as your mission, to provide information, support, and educational services to people in the communities they serve. In fact, many of their low-cost classes are offered at the same colleges and universities that some PBS affiliates call home. In the series we hope to produce, we'll profile businesses who have used not just their local Small Business Development Center counselors, but have also taken advantage of many of the resources available to them in their communities. We'll show how they use these resources in creative and unconventional ways that, in many cases, spelled the difference between their success and failure. Their example and experiences and the lessons these entrepreneurs learned along the way will provide information, instruction, possibly even inspiration for business owners in your area, enlightening thousands of your viewers who just won't get this programming anywhere else. Finally, this will be an opportunity for you to generate a valuable and rewarding new partnership. The ASBDC is equipped and eager to provide personal, in-depth support for those who watch Business Not As Usual. And of course, by recommending the program to its clients, the ASBDC will also build viewership for your station in a very community-conscious demographic group, one that can also pay large dividends in your fundraising efforts. We hope you'll support our efforts to bring this program to life, and thanks for taking time to watch.